Welcome to Rimscape. I am Joshua J. Cordero, and this is my review of the TILTA lightweight shoulder rig. So believe it or not, the TILTA lightweight shoulder rig is only the second shoulder rig I have ever owned. A long time ago, I tried out a shoulder rig just to see would it bring anything new to my productions, and I hated it. I won't say what brand it was, but it wasn't TILTA, I promise you that. But it was cumbersome, it was clunky, it hurt my neck and my shoulder even after just using it for an hour. Did not like it, did not think I would go back to shoulder rigs at all. But a few months ago, I invested in my very first Red camera, the Red Komodo X, and shooting handheld with it, I found myself getting really tired really fast and my forearms aching when shooting handheld. And when we were shooting in more run and gun scenarios, a tripod was not cutting it, and I really wasn't able to get the dolly and the subtle movements with something like a monopod. I didn't want every shot to have that smooth gliding look that you get with the stabilizer, so I found myself revisiting what shoulder rigs were available. And I found the lightweight shoulder rig, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And now I went ahead and reached out to TILTA, and full disclosure, they actually sent me this at, not free, but at a substantial discount in exchange for me talking about it. So I am free to share my opinions though, and give you my honest thoughts on this piece of equipment here. I will say overall, it's a positive experience with a few things where I feel like TILTA could make some improvements. Now, the first thing I noticed right away is the case that the shoulder rig comes in is absolutely fantastic. And as a filmmaker who, when we go to productions, we usually bring a cart and there's lots of gear stacked on top of each other. We love using the storage cubes sold by Peak Design. This fits in perfectly with how we like to transport gear. Now, by comparison, something like a DJI Mavic 3 Cine comes in this monstrosity of a shoulder bag, which I absolutely hate. I hate this bag. This fits perfectly. You can stack other things right on top of it. It's really well built. It'll hold a significant amount of weight on top of it. And when you open it up, you can see right away there is lots of storage. This compartment right here is perfect just to lay the shoulder rig inside of it. And you have plenty of storage here for any other accessories you might buy, and everything that it comes with fits perfectly in these pockets. And that is one thing right away, as someone who can be a little OCD in keeping his equipment organized, labeled, because even like my lens caps have got the labels on them. This makes me happy. Now, even though I've only owned two TILTA products now, I can say I've seen consistently with both of them, the build quality of what TILTA makes is outstanding. As soon as I took this out and just handled it, I could tell they used good materials. It felt solid, it wasn't clunky, and I was surprised how right away I could shoot with it. Almost everything I needed was there and ready to go. And it was really simple just to unscrew these knobs, get it to where I want it to be in terms of the length of my arms. You have these extenders on each of the handles to give yourself a little bit more room, which was great. The handles are easy to grip and comfortable. The padding on the shoulder rig was very comfortable. It's Velcro and you can take it on and off, but this was very, very comfortable to have resting on my shoulder. And this is coming from someone who actually can very easily kind of flare up neck pain, and the muscles of my neck can seize up easily. I actually almost never carry shoulder bags on my shoulders anymore. And so I found myself a little worried, okay, was this going to hurt when I put more weight on it? And I'm happy to say, no, it didn't. I can shoot with this for several hours and I had zero discomfort while shooting. My neck was actually bothering me this morning a little bit. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a bad day to shoot with the shoulder rig. Nothing about this causes discomfort on my shoulders or my neck. Just the way the ergonomics are is perfectly distributed. The attachment that you would put on your camera here that slides onto the shoulder rig, this will actually fit onto most Manfrotto styled brand tripods. So it's kind of cool that you can attach your camera to this, slide this right onto a tripod, pop it back off the tripod, put it back on the shoulder rig and switch back and forth really easily if that's something you want to do. Now, the other accessory that came with the shoulder rig that I really appreciated was this, and I don't even know what the technical term for this thing is, but basically the back support. So this goes behind your shoulder. And so you not only have the shoulder pad resting on top of your shoulder, but then you have this other piece resting against the rear of your shoulder. And that was fantastic, and it made a world of difference shooting with it attached to it. I initially took this to 3 very different types of shoots. One was for a documentary that I needed lots of B-roll on. There was a lot of moving people. Things were happening quickly. There was no opportunity to really stop things. I had to be go, 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 go. So I used this rig there, and the entire experience was really nice. And I was really wondering, can I get the dollying shots with it? Can I crouch and get on my knees? Because it seemed like a shoulder rig. I always had the perception that this would be simply if you were kind of filming talking heads. But I wanted to crouch low and shoot up. There were a lot of guys that were working on bicycles for this. And so I wanted to get different shots of their tools and then putting together different parts, taking off the damaged parts of these bikes. And I didn't know if it'd be something that would pivot with that variety of angles, but it did. It actually was really easy to adjust my position, whether that was standing or whether that was crouching or kneeling, and it went right alongside with me in that. And the reason why the shoulder rig really is so good for those run and gun scenarios is all the different knobs they have all over this thing. It is so easy that if you need to slide your camera back more, you just loosen right here, push back or push forward. If you need to go a little higher, a little lower on the individual handles, you just do that. Or if you want to lower or raise both of them, you lower this one. So it makes it really convenient, and it makes it really quick to make adjustments on the fly. And they do have these threads right here to attach your external monitors, which is where I put my red monitor, and I loved having it just right there in front of me the whole time. It was the perfect position for it. This is such a unique way to film compared to a tripod or a handheld or a stabilizer, but I really did like it. It gave me just that extra stabilization I needed and took the weight off my wrists and my forearms. It got rid of all that discomfort and shifted all of that weight here, which I could do for long durations of time. Now, after the documentary, there were 2 other shoots. I wanted to try this rig out to see how it went. One was actually a series of social media spots for a sidebar. And so they were making all kinds of different dishes, and we wanted to make sure that we could quickly go from standing up and again to crouching and zooming in tight on things like bananas and sliced strawberries, and the acai was they were making the bowls, or avocado toast. Again, I just had in my head that this is more of a piece of gear that associates with just filming people and talking heads. Well, could you film inanimate objects, and could you film dishes being made quickly and keep them in focus and it not be cumbersome using shoulder rig? It wasn't cumbersome at all. It actually, again, was very convenient. And I found myself zooming around, going from standing up, looking over their little counter, from crouching down to where I'm level with the counter with the same rig, and was still able to get what I thought were really good shots. Now, for the third and final shoot that we did with this rig to test it out was we shot a model. I wanted just to get her sitting down, sipping some coffee, and going for a walk, just doing some very casual things. But I wanted to move with her and do some subtle dollying shots and see, could I keep her in focus while racking focus manually and still doing some dollying movements or walking with her. And I can say, just like in the previous 2 scenarios, this was the perfect tool for the job. So my opinion, after using it in 3 very different filming environments, is that this is a great counterpart for those heavier cinema cameras. Now, I will say 2 of the caveats that I experienced with this rig was, the first was it didn't actually come with everything I needed. The one thing I needed to buy separately was this mini kind of articulating arm. It's from TILTA, it works great, but I don't understand, for all the other great accessories that it came with, why this didn't come with it. Because you need this to attach the monitor anywhere besides being mounted to your camera. And maybe that's me just being a little picky. It's just something I think should have been included with this rig. The second thing is, while all the knobs seem like they're perfectly placed, they're easily accessible, the one in front here that controls the tilting of both handles, the knob here can't actually go down all the way. I don't understand why that's built like that. I feel like this almost should have extended beyond the bar just a little more, because no matter where these bars are tilting, no matter how far down or how far up you go, it still hits. And there's a chance that if you're using a really heavy lens on the front of the rig here, that it can start to push down and your handles might start doing this. That wasn't a big problem for me shooting, but it did rear its head here and there. So it's something to be aware of. I don't know if I was just pushing the weight capacity, because this did happen almost exclusively with the bulkier, heavier lenses, but it's something to be aware of and something that I wish the design took into account a little better. So would I recommend the TILTA lightweight shoulder rig? I absolutely would. It totally changed for me my perceptions on the value of a shoulder rig. And while it certainly doesn't replace something like a monopod or a motorized stabilizer or shooting handheld, it is a fantastic tool to have in your inventory. Whether I was walking with the model, whether I was dollying, getting these subtle moving shots on things like food being prepared, I still think it was the right tool for all those jobs. And it surprised me just how many shoots it was accommodating to. And I think as filmmakers, that's something we should all be striving for, is adding as many tools to our inventory as possible. There is no perfect Swiss Army knife in any accessory in filmmaking. So I feel like just having the right tool for the right job, this is going to be the right tool for certain jobs and with certain cameras. So I am so glad I invested in this, and I would highly recommend it to any filmmaker looking for a more lightweight shoulder rig. So if you're in the market for a shoulder rig, I would strongly encourage you to consider the TILTA lightweight shoulder rig. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe while you're at it. Thanks for watching.